FIFA says the 2026 World Cup is breaking records. Record demand, record ticket sales, record global interest. But if that's true, then why are millions of football fans around the world all asking the same question? Why are there so many empty seats? Because what people are seeing on television doesn't always match what they're being told. And nowhere was that more obvious than in Guadalajara. Let's start with one simple number: South Korea versus Czechia. Official attendance 44,985. Stadium capacity 45,664. According to FIFA, the match was nearly sold out. Almost 98% full. On paper, that's a massive success. But then the cameras started rolling, and viewers around the world noticed something strange: rows of empty red seats, large gaps in multiple sections, visible spaces that remained empty throughout significant portions of the match, not one section. Not one camera angle, not one brief moment, repeated images broadcast across the world. Immediately, questions began appearing online. If the stadium was 98% full, why didn't it look 98% full? And that question matters because football fans are not stupid. People know what a full stadium looks like. They know what an almost full stadium looks like, and they know what empty sections look like. The explanation FIFA has historically used is actually quite simple. Official attendance figures don't necessarily count people sitting in seats. They count tickets allocated. That distinction changes everything. Because a ticket can be sold without the seat ever being occupied. Someone can buy a ticket and never attend. A sponsor can receive tickets and never use them. A corporation can purchase hospitality packages and leave entire rows empty. Officially, those tickets count. Visually, those seats remain empty. Both things can be true at the same time, and FIFA has dealt with this issue before. South Africa 2010, Russia 2018, Qatar 2022. Each tournament experienced similar questions. Official attendance figures look strong. Television pictures sometimes told a different story. The difference was usually explained by no-shows. But here's why 2026 feels different. This isn't happening after years of sold-out demand. This is happening after months of reports about unsold tickets, months of reports about price reductions, months of reports suggesting FIFA was struggling to move inventory for certain matches. And that's where the conversation changes. Because the question isn't simply why people didn't attend. The question is whether enough people wanted those tickets in the first place. Think about the economics. Some tickets for South Korea versus Czechia reportedly cost hundreds of dollars. Premium sections were even more expensive. Now ask yourself something. How many fans are realistically flying across the world to watch South Korea play Czechia in a group stage match? Some will. But enough to fill every expensive seat in the stadium? That's a much harder question. And the cameras may have provided the answer. The empty seats weren't randomly distributed. Many appeared in premium areas, hospitality zones, corporate sections, the most expensive locations inside the stadium. Exactly where you'd expect attendance problems to appear if pricing becomes disconnected from actual demand. And this matters because the World Cup is supposed to be football's greatest celebration, not a luxury product. Not a corporate networking event, not an exclusive entertainment package. Football succeeds because ordinary supporters create extraordinary atmospheres. When those supporters are priced out, something important changes. The stadium may technically be sold out, but it doesn't feel sold out, and football is ultimately experienced through feeling. The cameras capture that feeling, the noise captures that feeling, the atmosphere captures that feeling, and in Guadalajara something felt missing. Maybe FIFA's numbers were completely accurate, maybe every ticket really was allocated. Maybe every figure was technically correct, but viewers weren't reacting to spreadsheets. They were reacting to what they could see. And what they could see was a stadium that looked far less full than the official numbers suggested. That gap between statistics and perception is becoming one of the defining stories of this tournament. Because once people notice it, they start looking for it everywhere. And once that happens, every match becomes evidence. Every crowd becomes a test. Every attendance figure becomes a debate. The cameras don't care about press releases, they simply show what's there. And what they showed in Guadalajara has raised questions FIFA may spend the rest of the tournament trying to answer. The interesting thing about this story is that not every match has the same problem. In fact, some matches have been exactly what FIFA promised. Take Mexico versus South Africa. Opening game, historic stadium, host nation, massive expectations. The result? The atmosphere was extraordinary, the crowd looked enormous, the noise was relentless, the stadium felt alive, everything worked, the images matched the numbers, the experience matched the marketing. This was exactly what FIFA wanted the world to see. Then came Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina, another success story. Canada was playing its first Men's World Cup match on home soil, a historic moment. Fans filled the stadium. The atmosphere was electric. Supporters understood the significance of the occasion. The cameras captured genuine excitement. Again, everything worked. Then the United States played Paraguay. Another host nation, another packed stadium, another energetic crowd, another successful television product. So what does that tell us? It tells us something extremely important. The World Cup isn't failing everywhere. It's succeeding exactly where everyone expected it to succeed: host nation matches. Major cities, teams with strong local support, games involving supporters who already live in North America. These events generate incredible demand. The problem appears elsewhere, specifically matches that rely on traveling supporters, matches involving nations without massive North American communities, matches requiring expensive travel, matches requiring expensive accommodation, matches requiring expensive tickets. Once those factors combine, attendance becomes much less predictable. And that's a problem because the World Cup isn't supposed to depend entirely on host nations. It's supposed to be a global event. The tournament should create amazing atmospheres regardless of who is playing. Yet early evidence suggests that isn't always happening. Think about the structure. This is the biggest World Cup ever. More teams, more matches, more stadiums, more host cities, more logistics. Everything has expanded, but expansion creates challenges. More matches means more tickets must be sold. More cities means supporters must travel further. More stadiums means more seats must be filled. Everything becomes harder. And when prices rise at the same time, the challenge grows even larger. Supporters aren't infinite resources. Fans have budgets, families have limits. People make decisions based on cost. A supporter who can afford one match may not afford three. A supporter who can afford travel may not afford premium tickets. A supporter who wants to attend may simply decide the price isn't worth it. That's normal. The problem appears when organizers expect demand to remain unlimited. Because demand is never unlimited, not even for the World Cup. Every event has a price point where buyers start disappearing. Every tournament has a point where affordability becomes a factor, and some observers believe FIFA may have reached that point for certain matches, not all matches. Not the biggest matches, not the host nation matches, but enough matches to create visible problems. Visible problems become media stories become public narratives become reputational challenges. And that's exactly where FIFA finds itself today, not fighting empty seats, fighting perceptions. Because perceptions are harder to control. One image can travel around the world in minutes. One photograph can shape an entire conversation. One television broadcast can create a narrative that lasts for weeks. And right now the narrative isn't about record demand. It's about whether the World Cup is actually as popular as FIFA claims. That's a much more dangerous conversation. Because once people start questioning attendance figures, they start questioning everything else. And when trust becomes part of the story, every future controversy becomes bigger. The real danger for FIFA isn't the empty seats themselves. Every major sporting event has empty seats. Every World Cup has experienced attendance issues somewhere. That's not unusual. What's unusual is the timing, because FIFA spent years promoting this tournament as the biggest World Cup in history, the most successful, the most ambitious, the most in demand. That creates expectations, huge expectations, and expectations are dangerous because once you promise something extraordinary, people expect extraordinary results. Anything less becomes a disappointment, even if it's objectively successful. This is why the attendance debate matters so much. Not because a few sections were empty, but because those sections challenge the story FIFA has been telling. For months, officials spoke about unprecedented demand, record-breaking interest, historic enthusiasm. Now the cameras are providing an alternative perspective, and alternative perspectives spread quickly, particularly on social media. Every screenshot becomes evidence. Every photograph becomes ammunition. Every empty seat becomes part of a larger argument. That argument isn't really about attendance. It's about credibility. Can FIFA's statements be trusted? Do official figures reflect reality? Are supporters being told the complete story? Those questions are much harder to answer. And they don't disappear after one match. They continue throughout the tournament. Every future game becomes another opportunity for comparison. Every attendance announcement becomes another opportunity for scrutiny. Every broadcast becomes another opportunity for viewers to make their own judgments. That's why Guadalajara matters, not because it was catastrophic. Not because the stadium was empty, but because it created doubt. And doubt is powerful. Once doubt enters the conversation, everything changes. Now every future attendance figure will be examined more carefully. Every future crowd shot will receive more attention. Every future discrepancy will generate more discussion. The issue becomes self-sustaining, and FIFA knows this, which is why the organization will be hoping upcoming matches create stronger visuals, because visuals shape public opinion, not spreadsheets, not press releases, not official statements. People trust what they can see. And right now, millions of football fans believe they've seen something FIFA would rather they ignore. The irony is that the tournament itself may still be a massive success. The knockout rounds will likely be packed. The biggest matches will almost certainly sell out. Television audiences will remain enormous. Sponsors will remain satisfied. Financially, the competition could be hugely successful. Yet one question may continue following FIFA throughout the entire tournament: if demand is truly stronger than ever before, why do so many empty seats keep appearing on camera? And until that question disappears, this story isn't going anywhere, because football fans are watching, the cameras are watching, and most importantly, the world is watching.